Welcome to FUNC YOU UP, the podcast that gives you the best of functional medicine, nutrition, and wellness in 8 minutes or less.
Hello and welcome back to FUNC YOU UP. This is Michelle Miller, clinical nutritionist.
And this is Diana Orchant, functional medicine registered dietitian-to.
We are so excited today to have with us one of our own Physio Logic members with us today. It is Amy Montia, who is one of our licensed massage therapists, but she also has this rad PhD in molecular pathology. How did this come to be? This is awesome.
Well, I did research for 10 years in cancer genetics at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. I loved what I did. I learned a whole lot, published a whole lot. And once I finished my dissertation, I was starting out with my postdoc, and I realized that I had done what I wanted to do in terms of research, and I wanted to move on to something that was more meaningful, something that was more relevant to the everyday. So I took all my scientific background with me and went into manual therapy, which was something that I always enjoyed.
And I think it's so incredible. I mean, to understand the body to that degree, and then to be able to use the kind of like intuitive healing touch modality to build on top of that. I mean, what a wealth of knowledge that allows you to bring to each client that you're working with. That's unbelievable.
For sure. Some things, I bring a lot of concrete science with me into my practice, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that are very more intuitive and not as concrete. Not everything has a clear answer. Some things are just come from a different place than science. And so I bring the two together.
So when you're working with clients, I'm sure part of that is kind of like sensing and picking up on stress in the body. And that's a big part of what we're going to talk about today.
A lot of people are really stressed right now for a lot of different variety of reasons going on, both inside, outside the home. But what's interesting is that we hold on to this stress in a lot of different ways. So this can be, we can have more emotional stress or physical stress, but what's interesting is both, whether it's physical stress or emotional stress, can manifest in our bodies. So stress tends to accumulate in our shoulders, our neck area, sometimes our back, and not to mention ergonomically, our posture is not always so great when we are working from home, maybe working in a not ideal situation. Our desk is not so perfect. Our chair is not so great. And we're sitting a lot more, and we're likely not stretching enough.
Yeah, you think about, I mean, we don't have our normal commute anymore. I've seen a lot of posts about people working in their bed, and that's like terrible posture. And it's really, you start to create stress in different parts of the body. Amy actually was sharing a story with us last week about a client who regularly meets with her for massage therapy. And she was saying, it's been so many weeks without you. Like, can you just teach my husband like how to do what you're doing? And that's such a tricky thing because Amy's such an expert in her field. And again, there is this sense of like intuitive understanding of the body as you're going through that. But you talked about a couple different things that I'd love you to share with our audience. One is just understanding and the anatomy and kind of understanding our body so that we can provide ourselves some relief. And you're going to take us through a little bit of an exercise in a little bit, but you also touched on the benefits of acupressure. Can you break down what that exactly means?
Well, so acupressure is based in the traditional Chinese medicine, or classic Chinese medicine. It was the original medical system before there was an understanding of anatomy and bones and muscles. And so for 5,000 years, practitioners were treating their patients using energy meridians. That was really empirically created. I mean, it was over years and years of realizing different body types, different personality types, different occupations. They all lended to different types of stress in people's bodies and people manifested different types of diseases. So the understanding is that we have these meridians that run in our body from north to south, longitudinally, up and down, and energy blockage in these meridians is believed to contribute to discomfort, pain, disease. Basically, it's an imbalance of our meridians. What I think is really neat is that, and why I incorporate acupressure into my work, is because they found that up to 92% of acupressure points also correspond with Western musculoskeletal trigger points. So it's no coincidence that there's this real cross-referencing and sort of meeting in the middle of Eastern and Western medicine. And later on, I can go through, and a lot of these points they're both acupressure points and they're muscular trigger points that we can work into ourselves to either unblock chi or bring oxygenated blood, however you want to explain it. They're kind of doing the same thing.
How cool.
Sort of speaking the same, they're both speaking the same language, really. And when it comes to stress and what we're feeling these days, they're all salient together. Being able to unblock our chi, being able to get oxygen into muscles that have been not utilized properly for 60 days. So it's,
I mean, that brings a good point. I mean, there's many of us who are trying to stay active, but I mean, still, it's very difficult to be as active as we were before. And
for sure.
One of the things you were mentioning before we started recording was that massage works best on a body that has been in motion, a body that's moving, where there's been, circulation happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's a great point to touch on, that we really have to be working at keeping our body in motion and in movement to avoid pain and to avoid this kind of like stagnant area of the body.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, massage therapy is not magic. It does work best when the structures that we're working on are taught what they need to be doing. Our regular life of getting out the door every morning and walking to work and swinging our arms and wearing our bag, on the one hand, like wearing heels and carrying a bag on one shoulder was causing a lot of imbalance that massage therapy helps with. But on the other hand, just the act of swinging our arms every day and walking out the door and taking a big breath and filling our diaphragm is something that we're not really doing, other than like that moment when we say, oh my God, I have to exercise. So we go and we do 10 push-ups or something. And what's happening is we're not giving our bodies that bath that they need, that flush that they need.
So you were saying you're going to kind of lead us through this kind of small anatomy class where you're kind of explaining the body and kind of how we could almost give ourselves this self-massage / acupressure experience on our own at home.
Yeah, we can try. We can definitely try.
And Diana's going to help out right now, because some of our viewers will be watching this, but some of our viewers will only be listening to this on the podcast episode. So we're going to try our best to kind of like talk our way through this so that everyone can understand what we're doing if they can't see us while we're doing it.
Great. That's perfect. So the first thing, are we starting?
Yeah.
So this is
you guys ready? What?
No, so I just wanted to tell all our listeners that this is something that you can do in your home when you're sitting in a chair, when you feel a little sore, just so everyone knows kind of when they can apply this.
For sure. One thing that you do want to do is take the opportunity when you are going to do this, whether it's mentally or physically, or a little bit of mentally, a little bit of physically, step away from what you were just doing. I think one of the values of massage therapy when my patients and clients come in to see me is that it's an opportunity for them to put a lot of other things aside, and whether they realize it or not, to become more mindful. It's like true mindfulness, that they're able to be in the present, whether I'm working on them or whether we're just talking about how they can improve their body and what they can do and how they can make themselves feel better. It's a protected time, and it's something that we don't really have right now, or it's hard to find that mindfulness and those moments that we can step step away. So doing this little sequence, I would recommend, even if just stand up and sit back down, or, move to a different area, and start by, whether you're sitting on the floor or sitting on a chair, to just bring your belly button in towards your spine just a little bit. That's automatically going to help you to sit up. Actually, I'll go through one thing, a good way to start, which is something I was telling Michelle and Diana before, which is one of the best ways to re-energize your posture. And I do it at home, and my family thinks I'm crazy when I try to cook this way, but is to just take a book and just balance a book on your head. Anything. If you don't have a book nearby, it can be your phone. Yeah, you could use your phone. I mean, you just have to risk it crashing on the floor. But,
all right.
So, and just play around with what it feels like to have something on your head, and then also to feel your sit bones below you, okay? And then to have your belly button just gently tucked in. I saw that, Diana. Yeah, but it's slippery. But that's basically, like, just to start out, is create a dedicated space, energize your spine just by sitting up properly, sitting on your sit bones, pulling in your belly button. That's it. You don't have to hold anything else in that way. So we're going to do like a little bit of an anatomy lesson. So the first thing is you're going to feel where your collarbone is, okay? Right?
Yep.
And one thing that we can do, so right where that little triangle is, it's where your two clavicles are meeting your sternum, right in front, okay? Just going to slide along your collarbone.
Kind of below it.
Actually, you can use both fingers, one above, one below.
Okay.
And that's actually like a base, that's a myofascial technique. You can just slide along your collarbone till you get to your shoulder.
So you're going
to that bony point.
side.
You're going from your midline outward. And that alone is a really nice, like, you'll start to feel it if you do it slowly. Imagine you never want, this is one of the basics of acupressure, you don't ever want to be pressing. You're not pressing into your body, you're more just leaning your energy into it. You can almost imagine it as like, your fingers are like warm marbles and your body is like cold peanut butter, and you don't want to be squishing. So you don't want to be squishing the tissue on your body. You just want to be melting into it.
Right. So there's that whole mentality of like more is better. So
no, or deeper is better. Deeper is better. No, right. Especially now. Right now, no, you don't. There's no need to be digging so hard that you feel like you're, gonna throw up from it. So doing that on both sides, releasing your clavicles, is doing so many things right now. I mean, it's allowing your neck to line up better. It's opening up your shoulders a little bit. It's telling your pecs that they can release. So,
and that's what was interesting to me, was like all of these connections and all of these points that our muscles are, kind of all touching and attaching to each other, like all these different attachment points. You don't realize how connected everything is. Something from your pecs could be triggering something in your back and your neck. It's unbelievable.
And then on top of that, you've got all of the fascia that's wrapping it all together, that by just this gentle sliding along your collarbone, you're actually releasing, fascial restrictions up into your neck as well. So anyway, so now that we've done that, we can sort of feel what that's done by creating a bit of a cactus, okay? So basically, we're bringing our arms out to our sides, and then pointing our fingertips. Goalpost, cactus, it's really whatever you want to call it. You want to bring your head back in line with where your hands are, okay? Mm-hmm. And then now you're just going to bring your hands forward, and then up, and up, and then forward, and up. And Diana, I see your shoulders are up. Try to think about keeping your shoulders away from your ears. Imagine your shoulder blades have these like diamond pendants, and those diamond pendants are pulling your shoulder blades down. And you can feel what that does. It literally drops your shoulders away from your ears. Okay.
So the top of your arm is kind of, and your shoulder and your elbow are kind of staying all within the same line, but just the front of your arm, and your palms are basically just going to go down to the ground.
Up and
So you're
down.
essentially like hinging from your elbow.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, actually, you're hinging from your shoulder. Your elbows aren't doing anything. Your elbows aren't moving, but yes. So that's just a warm up, because that's what I was, we want to bring oxygen and blood into our body very simply. So now that after that, you're going to clasp your hands together, okay? And cradle your neck. Okay? Like you're gonna, like you're lying down on the beach with your hands behind your head, okay? You're gonna bring your elbow points in front of you.
Interlace your fingers.
Yeah, interlace your fingers behind your head with your thumbs. Okay, and this is a big one. So your thumbs are pointing downward.
Perfect.
Okay, so now what you're gonna do, keep in mind, keep remembering those little pendants at the bottom of your shoulder, at the bottom of your shoulder blades, dropping down as like little weights. So now you're going to bring your shoulders up towards your ears and back down. When you do that, you're activating your trapezius, which is ironically what you need to do. We always think that our trapezius is like so overworked, we need to pummel it until it's not activated. Actually, we do need to activate our trapezius properly. So by shrugging up and down, you're activating your trapezius. And while you're doing it, you should feel your thumbs. You should feel these muscles activating and softening, and softening. That's your trapezius. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
Shoulders up, shoulders down, shoulders up, shoulders down.
Can you
activating
exactly where your trapezius is for everyone listening?
Of course. So your trapezius is this very large, broad muscle. It's attaching at the base of your skull, and then it is running down, and then it's running down your neck, across your shoulders, and attaching at that one point where we just ended up, where your clavicle is, your shoulder clavicle. So it's almost like the trapezius is almost like a cape that's attaching to your neck, running down your shoulders, and then attaching at the top of your shoulders. So what we're going to do, this is the acupressure part of it, okay? We're going to just do a few up and down. You're going to feel your trapezius activating, okay? And then bring your shoulders down so the trapezius muscle feels sort of soft. Now, your thumbs are going to feel like they can sort of sink in, and you're going to feel like you can actually press your trapezius out of the way. So you're basically just going to push your thumbs in towards your spine. And to do that, you're going to you don't want to use your thumb muscles to press. You want to actually use your rib cage muscles to press them in. Like you want to actually use the muscles that are around your rib cage to press. Don't use your thumbs.
Do you drop your head back?
You want to just imagine the thing is on your head. You want to imagine you have a book on your head. Yeah. And just press, and you can press all along as you move your way up. You press your thumbs into your spine. Just keep pressing your thumbs into your spine all the way up.
Kind of moving up along the...
Kind of moving up. And then it starts to become a little fibrous. You don't really have, those are tendons, and pressing on those tendons right there, well, the tendons and ligaments.
It's kind of like moving up along the spine to the base of the skull.
You want to keep pressing all the way up until you're going to actually feel your skull.
Those are sassy little guys up there, aren't they?
Okay, right. So have you gotten up to your skull?
Yes.
Now you're going to switch your thumbs for your your forefingers, like the other fingers. Okay, and you're going to feel around. You're going to feel the base of your skull. There's like this little divot right in the center. Okay.
You're feeling that divot with your thumbs.
You can use your thumbs. It might get uncomfortable, so you can use your forefingers.
Okay.
Okay. And you're going to feel like this little divot that's right. It's where your skull is meeting your spine. Okay, you can look up and down, or you
Yep.
can even you just use your eyes. Sometimes looking up and down can actually activate your
Wow.
occipital muscles.
Cool.
You feel that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very subtle. That right there is an amazing acupressure point. It's the beginning of of the bladder meridian, which is a key in bladder meridian is a key for longevity, which is something, and like keeping our constitution strong, which is something we need right now. So the acupressure there would be, you're not pressing, you're just sinking. With every breath in that you take, you exhale and you just sink your fingers. That's it. And hold it there. Sometimes magic, it takes 15 minutes for real magic to happen. And so this is like something like, you're not going to feel something right away, but you just kind of keep your fingers there. Take a breath in and let it out. By having your arms up like that, you're maximizing your diaphragm as well. So it's an opportunity to take a nice big breath.
Could this work just as well if you were lying flat in bed?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it might be more comfortable for a lot of people because you probably feel your arms are getting tired, right?
Arm workout.
Yeah, it's an arm workout. So to make it into an arm workout, you want to keep reminding yourself to activate the muscles around your shoulder blades. Okay, that's your lower trapezius. The trapezius is a huge muscle. I just described the upper trapezius before, but the trapezius is covering your entire back. So to make it into like a healthy workout, you just want to make sure that you're activating the muscles around your shoulders. So that's okay. So those are the points. So that's one good point.
Love that.
Yeah. You can just sit there and yeah, that's a good point, to lie in bed and play around with it. Just, you can nod up and down, but you don't want to press deeply. You just want to sit there with it. It's about being mindful. Sometimes when I'm holding somebody's head, I'm not pressing into the muscles. I'm just holding it. And with every breath they take, they start to feel the release more and more. So that's just one point right there. There's another point of the gallbladder meridian right on the other side of it. So you can feel these two tendons on either side. When you go from the midline outward, you're going to feel these two ropey type things that are at your spine, that are at your occiput. If you go to the other side of it, those are gallbladder points right there.
So what do we think these are, like an inch away, like an inch out? I know it's probably so tricky.
No, that's a good point. I'd say actually, in Eastern medicine, that's all irrelevant. Things are measured in terms of finger. So it's literally just, a fingertip out.
Okay.
And that's scientific for Eastern medicine. Like a fingertip out is scientific. That right there those are gallbladder points. And in Western medicine, it's a whole different set of Western muscles that you can just hold there. You can do one at a time if you want.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
It feels like these different parts of my body that I've just been completely foreign to.
Yeah, it's true.
It feels like I released a lot of tension.
Yeah, so now bring your arms down and you're gonna feel, there's heat that has been created. Heat has been created, because you actually expanded your rib cage and you were breathing through all of that, which is something that we don't really give ourselves a chance to do. And also we're able to release some tight muscles and acupressure points that get extremely tight. I have others. I mean, it could wait for another podcast. We can go through others. We could post them on Instagram, but there are some other really good ones that we can do that get further out into the shoulder. I don't know how you want to do it, but
yeah, I would say, why don't we record a couple to put on our social media pages so that our followers can,
yeah.
This is something that they're loving. They can kind of check out there too.
That's a great idea.
I love that you just pointed out a couple things, just how this is a time to step away and kind of focus on ourselves. And, I just think right now there is a lot of chaos and uncertainty, and, we might feel claustrophobic. We might feel like we don't have enough, space in our living, arrangements. But that this really is one form of self-healing that we can kind of utilize ourselves. And if we have one more tool, one more therapeutic, tool, whether it's, even just doing a nice stretch or, having a book on our head or something like that, I think these are great tools that can just kind of help us be more aware of our body, bring breath back into the body, and hopefully, the goal is to prevent people from needing to come into the office to be seen. So
yes, it is true. That is true. I'm always very happy when people don't need to come in to see me so frequently anymore. I think it's an important thing to keep in mind that it's really not, it's not that knot in our trapezius or that knot in our levator scapula. Getting out that knot might not exactly be everything that we need to wake up feeling better. It's certainly part of it. And hopefully we can do lots of some other, Instagram posts or something where we can help people to get rid of those knots. But it's really more about stopping and taking a deep breath and becoming a little bit more mindful of our own importance and protecting our own time, sitting up a little bit straighter, breathing a little bit deeper. Those things make a big difference, just as much as releasing the trigger points, in a tight muscle.
It kind of reminds me, in functional medicine, we talk about really getting to the root of the problem and not just using a Band-Aid effect. And, just getting that knot out of your back, whether you're using a tool at home or you're just trying to get, someone to kind of go in on that one knot. It's not necessarily getting to the root of the problem. Yes, it might help you feel better for a short period of time, but I love that you made a point of mentioning that, because true health is understanding why something happens in the first place and really trying to prevent that from happening again.
Mm-hmm. And taking ownership and understanding what's going on in our body. It helps us to get to the root of the cause, getting out that painful knot and knowing that we have control over it and that we can actually do something about it is getting us on the road to figuring out the root cause of what's going on.
And not to mention the idea of just human touch right now. So I think we're all kind of lacking that a little bit. And so having, whether you have someone you live with or even doing it to yourself, whatever can be done, the idea of human touch has a lot of benefits. It can be relaxing, therapeutic. There's a lot to be even said about hugging.
That's
right.
And there's not enough of it these days.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to give hugs to everybody we see, and we cannot. That's tough.
Yeah, and so we move further away from people instead of moving closer. So if we can kind of bridge that gap in our own home, I think that would have a lot of benefits.
Yeah, actually, I think an important thing to add to that is sometimes it's about the touch. Yes, it's about the touch, but even more salient is the intention of the touch. And so sometimes just having the right intention of how to help ourselves or how to help the ones we love can make all the difference. It's like if you're telling your spouse or your daughter or your roommate to be like, get into this knot right now. Go, I can't, you have to get this knot out. And they're like, I'm trying. And they're like digging into it. It's not going to feel so great. But if it's, you have the intention of trying to help them to release it, helping them to just breathe through it and slow down, that's a big part of it. So it's not just the touch, it's the intention of the touch.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You're a wealth of knowledge. I can't wait to get some more information out to our listeners. And Diana, where can everyone find us if they want to get a little bit more of this information?
So feel free to reach out to us with any questions you have, or just say hi at funkyouup@physiologicnyc.com, or you can reach out to us on Instagram at physiologicnyc.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you next time.
You've been listening to Funk You Up. Be sure to like, review, and subscribe for more daily tips on living well.